Welcome to Reread. We are on the 4-issue comic book series, Chewbacca. It's like the eulogy for Chewbacca. R2-D2 and C-3PO are going around doing video recordings, Chewbacca in memoriam from all his friends and family. And the first book, the first issue, I should say, is on Mala, how Mala met Chewie, which is nice. But I wish, Chewie's ripping the arms off of Trashonians or whatever they're called. And that's funny, but I really wish there was more of the courting of Mala in this. I mean, they kind of continue the story a little bit. Itchy tells a story where his son honorably fought a white, what do they call, an albino Wookiee. And white is terrible. Usually they abandon white Wookiees. Why? Because they're not good camouflage in the forest. And white sticks out and all the predators can easily find them. Well, this white Wookiee, albino Wookiee, is in love with Mala. Knows that Chewie's his competition, challenges him to a battle, but does it with claws. And everyone's like, this is not honorable. You are not honorable. And so Chewbacca outsmarts him, drags him down into the forest jungle, and then leaves him there. Of course, he's white, so he's in a dark place, and he just kind of shines out, so he's going to be destroyed, I guess. And Itchy talks about how he was never afraid that his son would come back. He knew his son would come back to him. And that's where it has the best line ever, how can a moon destroy my son? Like, he feels like my son is impenetrable, he's invulnerable, he invincible. I mean, nothing can stop him. I love it. I love it. That first issue is possibly the best. Possibly the best. Issue 2 talks about a Trashonian who survived an attack by Chewie, and he's laughing about it. He said, it took me years to regrow my limbs, but I'm back. And he's got like little straw arms and little straw legs. And unless Chewbacca tore him apart, recently, which I don't think he did, boy, it takes him forever to grow back arms and legs. We know this because when you talk about, Bosk, and how he grew back his arms and stuff quicker in the books, after a few years, not after like 20. This seems like it's set 20 years ago, his story is. But I don't know. It's a good story, but oh well. And then the other one is from, for some reason, Mala Mala from Vader's Quest. How she survived she had a big accident and she survived thanks to Chewbacca. That came out of left field. I should have checked to see if the author wrote the writer wrote Vader's Quest. I'm assuming so, because why would you drag such a random character? I knew immediately who she was when I saw her. I was like, wait, what? Why are they interviewing her? It was kind of weird. So that's kind of out in left field. But again, I'm almost positive that's probably the same writer, and that's probably why they were put in there. The next issue 3 has a hilarious story where Wedge tells, I remember this one, Chewie is fixing the snowspeeder. Wedge doesn't know Wookiee that well. When he says, Chewie, am I ready to go? Chewie says no. He thinks it's yes. He takes off. Chewie is tangled up in the wiring and is kind of flying underneath the snowspeeder. And so Han has to kind of drop him off on top of a TIE fighter. Chewbacca tears open the hatch of the TIE fighter lid, takes out the TIE fighter pilot, and flies the TIE fighter home. And at the end, he's looking for Wedge, who is hiding up on a cargo bay net because he knows he's going to die if Chewbacca gets a hold of him. And he goes, I used to tell that story for laughs. He said, but now I get a different reaction or something. It's so good. He said, but now, after what happened. And he kind of leaves it at that. And it's like, it's not a funny story anymore. And it is, but to Wedge, there's a little bit of hint of sadness now. So that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I'll give it credit. That was pretty good. Lando tells a story. It's a weird one where he and Chewie are captured by a Moff who has captured 3PO and turned him into some giant battle droid. Chewie battles 3PO, suddenly rewires him while battling him, and has the wimpy Moff take on wimpy Lando, and Lando beats up the wimpy Moff. And Han said, Lando says, I considered Chewie a friend. I hope he considered me the same, because after all the disagreements they had over the years. And then finally they have Leia, and Leia is, she always wanted Chewie out of the way because she was jealous and wanted Han all to herself. Now she's losing her husband because of Chewbacca's death, and she feels bad about being jealous of Han and, Chewie's relationship, which is mentioned nowhere in the books or any stories previous to this. It'd have been nice if they would have mentioned it maybe in a Bantam book, and that's what they were going for, but it just kind of felt like out of left field. And finally, the fourth one. I don't know why Luke recounts the death. He's saying, well, here's what I recall of them telling me how he died. And then you see all this great imagery of Vector Prime, which I really think is awesome. But why is Luke doing this? Han is there. He's the last one to tell a story. And like I said, it's a sad tale because before 3PO comes, he's calling out for Chewie for a hydrospan or something. Not really. He keeps calling out for Chewie because he's so used to calling for Chewie. Chewie's not there. But his story is about one time Chewbacca saved his daughter Jaina. Okay, that's your best story? That's your favorite story? And Han should be the one. They should have flipped that. Maybe Luke tells him how Chewbacca's been saving Han's kids for years or whatnot. But let Han tell the story of how Chewbacca died and what he saw. That was just so weird that they flipped that. Like, Luke wasn't even there. And he says he wasn't there, but he's like, here's from what I could tell what happened. And the imagery is great, but why is Luke telling the story? I understand why you want to put Luke in there to say something about Chewbacca, but flip those stories or something. I don't know, it was really a missed opportunity. I mean, Han shows a little picture of a little drawing that Jaina did for him saying, I love Chewbacca. I don't know, it seems kind of forced. One thing I did think was funny is Han was clearing out his locker and he found a twig from Kashyyyk. You know, he's like, the old softy. You know, I thought that was funny, you know. But other than that, like I said, there's hits and misses here, and it may be 50-50. I don't know, maybe 70-30. I don't know. There's more misses maybe than hits here. It's an okay series, and I'm glad that Dark Horse did this. I'm glad that Chewbacca got a eulogy, you know, for 4 comic books. But I don't know, what would I have done better? I made it shorter. Maybe a double-size issue with all these little short stories in it. I think that's really all you needed, and then you can move on. But either way, Chewbacca, I don't know how hard this is to find. Is it worth reading? It's okay. It's worth maybe one read. All right, folks, that's it for now. See you next time.